John Jastremski joining the show, host of New York over at The Ringer. Big day today for you guys. I know you got your pod coming up, JJ. Initial thoughts when you first saw John Harbaugh sign with the Giants?
Slam dunk, euphoric, fired up, best
euphoric. That's a big one.
I mean, Ariel, let's understand something. The Giants have been one of the worst franchises in the NFL for the past decade. That's not exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. That's how embarrassing they have been. They get a coach who gives them instant credibility. I understand you are the perfect person to talk to because you lived through the frustration of Harbaugh in the later years with the Ravens. Prop Queen, I think the Giant fan will take the idea of losing in the playoffs compared to the slop of football that they've watched for the past year, for the past 10 years. You know you're getting instant credibility with John Harbaugh. There's no denying that. And I think it's the best day the franchise has had since they won the Super Bowl in Indianapolis in 2012.
That's what I said to the chat because the chat was all like fighting and whatnot. And I said, guys, let the Giants have a good day. Let the fan base have fun. I know there's a lot of injury concerns. Cam Scottaboo, Malik Neighbors. What's the status on them? Because I know on our Ringer Gambling show today, you said you're high on the Giants in 2026.
Oh, you can take it to the bank. I'm betting them over whenever the number comes out. I'm betting them to make the playoffs. And I get it, Ariel. People are going to look at the Vrabel-Pat comparison. And that's going to be the theme all the bettors hop on throughout this offseason. But I think the Giants should have had a better record this year. They were poorly coached. It's obvious they were poorly coached. I think Harbaugh will get a different level of play out of that defense. You bring back those two guys you mentioned on offense. You add to the team. I think they have a baseline to go and be a 9, 10, 11-win team. I really do.
Obviously, it's great. You'll have your head coach, the Giants, going into the NFL draft in a few months. What holes do the Giants have that if they fill them, they're even more of a contender?
It's a good question. They need better play at corner. I think that's obvious. Their corners stink. So they got to find a way to go and get a corner, whether it's free agency or the draft. In the draft, it's interesting. I could see the Giants getting another wide receiver. Now, there's an argument to be made that you don't want to take 2 premium picks in the first round and take them on wide receivers. My counter to that is, hey, look at Philadelphia and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. When they were at their best, not this year when they were a hot mess, there's a formula and a blueprint for that working in a big way. So I like the idea of having insurance for Malik Neighbors. There are 2 or 3 top receivers in the top 15. Go and get one of those guys, and then you really set up Jaxson Dart to go and have a massive leap in his second year.
How much do you believe in Jaxson Dart?
So I like him a lot as a player. I think he's got swag. I think he's got the right mentality to handle New York. He's not fazed by pressure. He can move around. He can throw the ball downfield. He's not an amazing deep ball thrower. He's not Drake May in that regard, but the arm is more than good enough. Here's the question. Durability. Is Jaxson Dart going to be able to play 16 to 17 games on a regular basis? If the answer to that question is yes, the Giants are in really good shape. If it's not, you're going to have a problem.
You know, Sean Michael keeps going off in the chat about New York sports, and he says a lot of crap about the Giants, a lot of crap about the Knicks. Any thoughts before we go into the divisional round of the playoffs, what your Knicks thoughts are?
Yeah, I'm really down on what I've seen from Karl Anthony Towns this season. And that is not some crazy take. If you've watched the Knicks over the last few weeks, he's looked like a lost puppy. He's a clear liability on defense. And he has looked disengaged and disinterested on offense. Look, the Knicks are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be one of the top 4 seeds within the East. We all know that. But if you're dreaming about winning the East, you're dreaming about winning a championship, you need to get a better version out of Karl Anthony Towns. And I applaud Mike Brown for after the game absolutely reading him the riot act and ripping him as it was deserved. It's justifiable. And it's a major, major riddle Knicks got to figure out at some point in time.
Yeah, guys, and in case you don't know, John Jastremski hosts the New York podcast over at The Ringer. So everything New York is his bread and butter. The Knicks approaching the trade deadline and all-star break. Do you see them making any big moves?
It's a good question. They could probably use another big. Are they going to be able to do that? They're going to have to move Yabusele in order to do so. Mm-hmm. You can always sell me on the idea of getting a backup point guard, but you know, Deuce McBride can't go anywhere. There were a lot of rumors about him getting traded early in the year. I kind of subscribe to that theory. He's been one of their most efficient players. Can't trade a guy like that. Way too important to their 2025, 2026 success. So I'll say at the moment, if the Knicks make a move, target bigs, backup, defensive-minded bigs. That's what I'd be looking at.
As of yesterday, the Knicks were the front runners to be the Eastern Conference winners, but with all the injuries, drama, and losing last night, I don't know how confident I am in this short favorite. I want to get to the divisional round thoughts. Anytime touchdowns has been your favorite thing in this season to bet. You've been crushing them, especially for these primetime games. Let's start with Saturday. What do you got?
Okay, you're right. I've been red hot. Let's not mush it now, but I've been with you every Thursday, so
Yeah.
we're feeling good about these. Okay, I'm pulling up Buffalo now. Buffalo, Denver. Dalton Kincaid, I like it plus 290. Scored a touchdown last week against Jacksonville. Josh Allen, I think, is going to look to him in the red zone because I think Denver is going to do a really nice job at trying to take away the run. They're going to be run focused. Therefore, there'll be opportunities in the passing game for Dalton Kincaid. The other one I like, Ariel, I'm coming on. I'm giving you hammers right out of the gate. Bo Nix, a little over 3-1 because you see these quarterbacks, especially inexperienced quarterbacks, run a lot more in the postseason. So I don't love the Denver running game. I'm going to take Nix plus 310 to go and score a touchdown. Now, in the nightcap, I like these two anytime touchdowns that much more in this game. I got Charbonnet, who's been good to me all year. Even money. Seattle inside the red zone. They trust Charbonnet a lot more than Kenneth Walker. We'll take him at minus 110. And with the loss of George Kittle in the red zone, Brock Purdy looks to guys he can trust. McCaffrey's the obvious one. The other is Juwan Jennings, who scored a boatload of touchdowns at the end of the season. He's one of my favorite players in the league, and I'm not just saying this because he's got JJ attached to his name. He's a badass. He's super tough. He gets chippy, and he's going to score against the Seattle Seahawks at plus 230.
Oh, okay. I love this little bit of plus money and some value. You mentioned to me also San Francisco. Kyle Juszczyk, you liked him this weekend as well.
I do. I would play his over for receiving yards because he can be involved in the passing game. We've seen that in prior Super Bowls. There's obviously a comfort level for him and Kyle Shanahan's offense. And there's more opportunity now with George Kittle not being there. So Kyle Juszczyk, circle him down, play his overs.
Anything else on Sunday?
On Sunday, listen, you know this. Me and our guy Raheem are heads up on these games. I'm all over the Texans. I think their defense is the best defense that the NFL has going. I think those two tackles for the Patriots are going to have a really hard time blocking Anderson, blocking Hunter. So give me Houston outright. Don't even mess with the points. They're going to win the game. And I'm giving you alt spreads for the Rams. Not even messing with 3.5. I think the Rams win this game. It's a flex. They're clearly a better team. And there's a reckoning for a very fortuitous Chicago team all season long. So I'm not even going to come on and give you the 3.5. It's boring. It's basic. We don't do that around here, Ariel. Minus 9.5 at plus 200 for the Rammies.
Oh my goodness. We're going to say Rams actually win by double digits, unlike last week when they were a 10.5-point favorite in Carolina. Damn.
This is you know what, Ariel? They had this scare last week. That's the way I look at it for the Rams. Some are going to be scared. I go the other way. They found a way. I think they're going to play much better against Chicago than they did against Carolina.
Last question from the chat before I let you go. They're still stuck, a lot of them, on the NBA conversation with the Knicks. I know we're flip-flopping around sports and whatnot, but I just go by what the chat wants to hear. They want to know if you think there's going to be some kind of big trade, maybe like you trade, King K said, Cat for Laurie or Laurie and Giannis. I mean, you think any big splash is going to be made?
I'd be stunned if the Knicks made a trade for Giannis at this point in time. Now, I think that's an off-season conversation. Now, again, you got to see what Milwaukee decides to do. If Milwaukee says, hey, we're putting Giannis up, it's now or never, that's going to lead to a very interesting conversation for Leon Rose. But I think in a perfect world, the Knicks would like to keep their team for the most part as is, see if they can make a run this year, and then acknowledge at the end of the year, hey, we had it right or we didn't have it right.
Mr. New York, you got your podcast. You said you're recording today. What can the people expect and when's it going to be released?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're in the middle of it right now, but for you, we do just about anything, Ariel Epstein. We love the prop queen.
Big day for New York.
You're our girl. We'll have our pod up in a little bit. Harbaugh reaction. The great Adam Shine will be with me, which is a fun spot.